Okay, so we'll start. So you all have any doubts till yesterday, till last 6 chapters? If not, you can put it in the chat. So knowledge of the absolute. We are starting a new section. Let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanakashalakaya Chakshurmitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavscha Sri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakavanemtamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Navostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatra Abhyascha Kripa Sindhu Avayevacha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschateshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So let us start. So what was let us do a little recap. Dhyana Yoga. So Krishna talked about Yoga, ladder, Yoga Rudra, Ashtanga Yoga. And we saw in all that the necessity of controlling the turbulent mind. There were 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga we saw. And then the necessity for controlling the turbulent mind. Because Arjuna says it's very difficult to do this process. I mean, it's much easier to control the wind rather than mind and the senses, because that is the underlining there, and we have to meditate on the Lord. So then he had asked about the destination of the unsuccessful yogi who have done it, but who have not been successful. Then Krishna gave the thing, saying they will either be born in a pious family or in the, depending upon their progress, or in an aristocratic family. Then finally, Krishna concludes on the topmost yogi. So in this chapter, we are going to see in the thing about Krishna. This is about, there are about 6 sections. There we are going to know more about the Lord. The Lord is going to talk about his energies, material and the superior energies. Then 3 modes of nature, how it is very difficult to control, and only we need to surrender to the Lord, then we get control. Then he talks about 4 kinds of people who surrender to him, and then 4 kinds of people who do not surrender. Then about the bewilderment and the freedom. So we're learning more about the Lord. So the synopsis is like that. In chapter 6, Krishna explained that best of all the yogis, I mean, we saw that the yogi who always thinks of him in devotion and concentrates on him in full faith. So he's telling he concluded last chapter by saying the best yogi is one who is always thinking of him in devotion and concentrate on him in full faith. Okay. So then how do we do that, and why we should concentrate on the Lord? So that's what he's going to give us. Unless we know somebody, I mean, something about him, then only we will try to go near him, try to understand the person, and then we like to have a relation with the person and try to keep thinking. So here, if you want to think of the Lord all the time and concentrate on full and in devotion, then we should know about him. So now Krishna is going to give us the knowledge of him. So there, This knowledge is not knowledge like what we get in the material world. See, the material world, whatever we are learning in the academic colleges and schools and all that, it's all about skills, how to survive in this world, how to get a job and how to maintain a family and all that. I mean, how to go in the material world. That is all we get the knowledge. We don't get anything about the transgender. And how do we get that? Here it says only by process of hearing. It says only that because this is transcendental spiritual knowledge is something beyond our perception. It's nothing that, see, we have 4 defects with us, right? We have, our senses are not perfect. We have imperfect senses. Then we do commit mistakes. That is general. All of us have these 4 kinds of errors with imperfections. And then we have the cheating propensity, and we are also under illusion. So because of that, whatever we get, the knowledge, we try to understand by our senses. See, we can only through our senses, which are imperfect. Why I say imperfect is, see, you can see your hand if there's a light, but in darkness, you cannot see even your hand, isn't it? Nor you can see your eyelashes, nor there are so many things which is, we can't see everything. Same way, there are a lot of imperfections in us. And that is the knowledge which we try to see something, hear something, get some knowledge by some deduction. Or some, through logic, we try to get some knowledge. But this knowledge, which is about transcendental, about thing, it can be only heard by Shruti Pramana. So he says, only by process of hearing, we can acquire this knowledge by descending process. But descending means through disciplic succession. So know Krishna by the process of hearing about him. And he is the source of all matter and spirit. He is the source. He is the origin. And he controls the nature. Then he talks about impious people can never surrender, and only pious people do. And there are some who surrender to, I mean, most of us surrender to demigods, and some are there with impersonalism, and they have their mentality is misled. And then how you can, with such living entities, how can they be freedom by knowing Krishna? How they can come out of this is what we are going to see in this chapter. So the first is to knowing Krishna in full by hearing about him. So here Krishna requests Arjuna to hear, because he ends up with the last chapter, no, you're the best yogi. So how to hear about this material and spiritual energy, and knowing that, that means we know him and not many people know him. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Ashakta Manaha Vata Yogam Yunjam Mat Ashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yata Jnanasya Tatshunu. So Tatshunu, it keeps repeating. Now here, O son of Pratha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Only when you practice yoga, that is what yoga means, to connect to the Lord, not just a physical exercise. So once you attach your mind to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. And now here. So hearing is the best. And among all our senses, which is the most powerful? Hare Krishna, can anyone tell? We have eyes, we have nose to smell, we have hand to touch, and legs to walk, and ears, nose, tongue to taste. Which is the most powerful? Hare Krishna, anybody can tell? Yes. Yeah, because when you sleep, when you sleep, all your senses are gone to rest, isn't it? Your eyes is closed, your thing is numb, your mouth is closed, everything is closed. It's only your ear which is awake. I mean, the minute alarm rings, you can get up. So the ear is the most powerful. So he tells you hear, only be hearing. So, and what is this knowledge which we are learning? Krishna explains how to know him by the process of hearing. So we saw in the first, second chapter, we had explained how Krishna can be known by the absolute truth. He is the personality of Godhead. and through the 3 stages of understanding it. That is by Brahman understanding is the impersonal. That is Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So anyone can tell this? I think we have told this in chapter 2. Hare Krishna. Brahman realization is to know about his energy. And Paramatma is the one who is there within all our entities. Then we also talked about living entity. He is a spirit soul, and that is his true nature. And how do we realize that is what we are different yoga process we talked about in the last 6 sessions, right? How to elevate the self by through Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga. So these are all Brahman realization and Paramatma, they're all partial. The full realization is only when we understand him as the source of everything, is the Bhagavan realization. That is, we understand the sun god, not just the sunlight and the sun disk. Okay. So to realize that, we have to concentrate and focus our mind on the Lord. And there are 9 processes for devotional service, which begins with hearing from Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. By constant hearing, slowly, see, there are a lot of impurities in our heart, which are misgivings are there, which needs to be cleared. And that gets purified only by constant hearing about the Lord and trying to understand the knowledge about him. And then you become slowly, once you get, and our faith in him starts with little faith, then slowly it gets dridda. It gets fixed in a devotional service, and we get free from modes of passion and things. We come to the goodness. And then slowly, when it gets purified, we come to the situation of pure goodness, and we can understand him perfectly. So that's one leader. So this starts off with the hearing. So, I mean, this is a 9 division, the process of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Atmanivedam. Okay. So chanting glorifies remembering the Lord. And I mean, we have examples like Prahlad Maharaj was all the time remembering in the Lord. He was not disturbed by his father's activities. And then serving the lotus feet of we have the Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi. Then Prithu is a deity worship. We have praying, Archana, Vandanam, Dashyam is Hanuman is the best example, and the Sakyam is Arjuna. Then Atma Nivedam is Bali Maharaj. Okay. So these are the 9 processes, but the ones we can concentrate on is these 3. First 3, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. Try to chant and then be with glorifying the Lord. Keep listening to the about Lord, but Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and all that, and Kirtanam and Smaranam all the time. So these 3 we can for the beginners. Okay. So Gnanam Hate Hamsa Vijnanam Idam Vakshyami Ashestaha Egnatva Neha Bhuya Jam Natvayam Avishash. I shall now declare to you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous, by knowing which there shall remain nothing further to be known. So this is the true Vidya. And this is the thing which need not know. If we know only about the Lord, that's more than enough, because for self-realization. So Lord Krishna is full knowledge, that is phenomenal. And what is the complete knowledge? We have to know how jnana which we are acquired by or perceived by senses is matter. About spirit and through senses, the vijnana. Knowing this, nothing more to be known. That's what the Lord says. Okay. And what is it? He is the controller of the whole. So only he can tell us about it, not anybody else, right? And why is he telling it to Arjuna? Because he is a devotee and is a friend. So if you want to understand this knowledge about the Lord, if you want to know about the Lord, about the spiritual knowledge, we should have this qualification, that we should be a devotee. At least we should come into that platform. Only then we can understand. What do we need to understand? We need to understand he is the cause of all causes and he is the source of all the knowledge. And is only object of meditation for all yoga process. And all the thing, whatever the process you take up, it is ultimately we need to go back to the Lord. So the object of meditation is the Lord Krishna. Is the source of everything and is the cause of all. So he is the virgin, absolute truth. So then Krishna says, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. Of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth, because it's not that easy to understand the Lord. Even in chapter 13, he says, even Lord Brahma and even Shiva, they don't know him that completely, because they're all been created. Who have been created, they don't know their words. Only the person who creates knows everything, right? So the ones who are created, they can understand him only partially. So here they might endeavor for perfection, they will do, but hardly one among them, hardly one knows me in truth. So here we give the example of the marathon, no? When hundreds of people will join there, but ultimately only few will reach towards the final goal. So rarely man achieves perfection. Out of perfection is real. There are different graces. Some are generally interested in animal forms, eating, sleeping, and transcendental knowledge is all about soul, body, absolute truth. Okay. For that, we understand difference between soul and matter. That is the Brahman thing and Paramatma. Okay, that's what we saw in the first 6 chapters. But understanding Krishna, that absolute truth, that is a cause of all causes, and that too he has all the opulences in full. At least you all know the 6 opulences the Lord Krishna has. Can anyone tell? Hare Krishna. I see dogs. You can put it in the chat also. Hare Krishna.
Beauty, richness.
Okay, beauty, wealth. Then knowledge.
Knowledge.
Then power.
Strength, yeah, power.
Yeah, power. Renunciation is Vairagya. And is wealth. Okay. So process of bhakti is not that easy to practice as proclaimed by impersonals. It can only be known by process of Krishna consciousness. That is, you have to be engaged in devotional service. That we come everywhere. Even in the final chapter, it says only by devotional service we can understand the Lord. And all these things are there in Upanishads, Puranas, the Panchayata, all these Vedic things. But just understand, only studying this is not, studying this literature is not enough. We should try to do devotional service too. Otherwise, we'll just become like a pandit, only trying to know the theory, but we don't know how to practice, how to focus on the Lord. Just knowing the theory is not enough. We should also practice bhakti. That is, try to connect to the Lord. So process of devotional service is important. So knowing Krishna as a source of both the material and spiritual energies is covered in verse 7.4 to 12. So what are the things, energies? Right? So earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Okay, so Krishna is talking about his material energies. Aprame itasya ayam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayadam darya jagat. Besides this, O mighty Amranjana, there is another superior energy of me, mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources. So now we come to say we living entities also have the superior energy, and the material energy are the separated material energies, Prakriti. And Jivas are the ones who have superior energy, who are in this material world. So all created beings have the source in these 2 natures of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. So he is the cause of all causes. That's what he says in these 3 verses. So we have this. So how does he create? At least this Mahatattva. if people should understand this. That is, he expands. Krishna will expand, plenary expansions. And then the first plenary expansion will be like Karnadaksha Vishnu, who through his pose, there will be lot of universes will be created. And into each universe, Garbhodakshana Vishnu will enter and to energize them. Otherwise, see, matter as it is will not move or cannot be activated unless there's a superior energy into it. Okay. So then after entering into that, then into each universe, the Garbhodaksha Vishnu will enter to energize that. And then once then he creates Brahma. Then Brahma creates secondary creation. Then he creates all the other planets, and then into each of atom and a thing, Kshirodakshana Vishnu will enter as Paramatma. So this creates the total material energy. Then enters into every universe to create diversities. Then he enters in every atom to maintain a supersoul. So this is our Mahatattva. So I hope you all have understood this, or any doubts in this? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, can we repeat it slowly? This portion.
Yeah. See, we should know. Here Krishna is talking about the creation. Okay, how he is creating it, right? Krishna first will, there are, so I mean, if you look at the global Goloka chart, there are many expansions. Then from Sankarshana expansion, there he expands as Karnadaksha Vishnu. Okay, he will be lying on the causal ocean, and from there, from his pose, I think all the universes will come out, like the globe, like, spheres will come up and into E. So he creates all the globes. That is, he will create the material energy. Material universes will come out. Then into each material universe, like our universe, then Garbhodakshana Vishnu. Then there's an expansion of the Lord as Garbhodakshana Vishnu. We call him because that he enters into each universe. Okay, to create diversities. So into our universe, we have 14 planets, isn't it? Bhuloka, Mahaloka, and all that. No, we have higher planets and lower planets. So into each, Garbhodakshana Vishnu will enter, and then through his first he creates the Brahma. Like that, they will go to different universes. Garbhodakshana Vishnu enter, and he will create Brahmaji. Here, our universe, our Brahmaji has got 4 heads. Okay, so there are many universes are there with Brahma is created with different heads and all that, right? So in our universe, we have 4-headed Brahma, and then Brahma is given the power to create further, secondary creation. Then he creates the 14 planets, Bhuloka and all that, and then all the jivas will come in. So then into every jiva, into every atom, Krishna has to enter, because only if superior energy goes there, it gets activated. So then he enters into all the atom to maintain it. He is the super soul. Okay. So we call that, the expansions are known as Karnadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. These are Paramatma. So they are the maintaining one. Okay. This is known as Mahatattva. These are Purusha incarnations. We saw Purusha incarnations, your Yuga avatars, Leela avatars, and all that. So material world, then it is created for enjoyment of because we desire to enjoy independent of the Krishna. Because of our desire, Krishna creates the material world, and he is creating through Karnadaksha Vishnu. So, and then living entities are here, but the whole control is in the Lord. So, but this creation is temporary because he creates, he maintains, and then he annihilates, right? So all these activities are directed by the 3 Vishnus. Ingredients of material energy are separated energy of the Lord. So we saw that gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Okay, and the 3 gross elements there. Then subtle elements are mind, false ego, and intelligence. So this you'll understand, because this is what we say cause of all causes. He is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator. Any
Right.
doubts? Any, huh? Hare Krishna?
Yeah. Mataji, one question. So right now, what we are aware through our whatever knowledge we have gained through the our academics. So we learned about our solar system, like 10 planets are there, and then there is a certain galaxies, Milky Way or maybe nebula. And there can be, I mean, and day on day basis, advanced telescopes are being built, so they are able to discover more and more farthest galaxies. So, though this system is part of, is a subset of which basically which system means the material energy, Mahatattva. Is it a part of that, or it is another parallel kind of
No, man. No,
universe is
Prabhuji.
there?
No, Prabhuji. This is one. This is one universe which we see these planets around us. That's what we have learned. No, Sun, then we have Earth, Mars, Mercury, and all that.
Venus. Yeah,
Venus. So this is what being created by the Brahmaji here in this universe. Like that, there are many others.
okay,
Okay, we don't know that, but we know only about this and whole about this creation, about how this actually we think sun is we are rotating around the sun, but in Srimad Bhagavatam it says all planets are surrounding the earth. Okay, anyway, that we won't go into that. That is how the who is revolving. It's only relative. Any motion is
right,
relative. If you sit in the train, no, when you are going and you see another train passing, right? We think if
right,
the train is motion, the other train moving, we think we are moving. No, it's relative, isn't it?
correct,
We won't go into that. But what says in the Vedic scriptures is that there are many universes which we don't know, which because with our telescope or with this thing, we can only reach to a certain level. We don't understand anything more beyond that, right?
right,
We have not understood that much. So, but here in this scriptures, they say there's much more, and it is being created, annihilated, and maintained by the Lord. See, the whole thing is a gravitational force. Everything from where the whole thing is the energy. No, it has been everything moves in a orbit in a particular manner, isn't it?
correct.
And how it is done. I mean, nobody is controlling. There is somebody to control it. No, somebody has made it.
Yes,
Something is moving, and this whole energy is there. So that is what we are talking here, because this is what he says, and the whole thing is covered by gross elements as well as by subtle elements. That is intelligence, mind, and false ego. There, everything has little buddhi is there, no, in all the atoms.
yeah,
Plants are growing. It has got certain intelligence there, no, isn't it? In the
right,
seed. Otherwise, how do you it grows? Today we talk about DNA and genes and all. We are giving so many names, but here that's
yes,
what we are talking. We are saying that so Shirodakshina in Vishnu, every jiva is there in it. All jivas are there, but conscious level is different. Like we have been in plants, we have been in animals, and then we have come through human form today. But we can take in any forms we could have come, any of the species, right? That's
right,
what we're saying here. Then, but along with that, Paramatma is there inside. Otherwise, Paramatma is there in the ant, also in the plants, also as well as in the human form. Okay, he has to be there. Unless he is there, the whole thing cannot move. We have only marginal energy, whereas superior energy is by the Shirodakshina with the Lord, Supreme Lord. Okay, and marginal, why we say jivas have got marginal is when we are in the realized soul, like when we are thinking all the time we are reached to the spiritual platform, that time we have the complete Divya Shakti. But if we are thinking only about a bodily and we are in this material bodily platform, then we have our material energy. We are in that. That's why we could be in this platform or in the other platform. So our energy is marginal energy. That's why we say.
okay,
So that is the difference.
right,
Because this is the basic tattva. This is the Mahatattva, which is we need to understand. Because this is
okay,
whole substance in this chapter is that. Besides inferior energy, Lord, superior energy are the living entities. That's why we say, no, Satchitananda. We are also having little potencies of the Lord. It's only small. Okay? Only. So, Has is Tataksha energy, marginal energy. And then Bahiringa energy ain't here. So, Antaranga energy is there. So, there are jivas in the spiritual world. They are all the time Nitya Siddhas. Whereas we are all Nitya Baddhas. We are all bound by the material world because we are thinking we are the body, and so we are stuck here in this material world. We are conditioned. So liberation means we are free from this illusion that we are the body and everything. This is mine, that is mine, because everything is the Lord. He is the one who is giving us everything, sunshine, everything, and we are thinking we are the ones who are doing everything. Okay, so this illusion that I and mine, if you get liberated from that, that means we are reaching the self-realization. So, right? So this is the concept of the energies. He is the source, origin, and dissolution. So, conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So, see, inside the thread is moving. It's there. We cannot see when you see the pearl necklace, we don't see the thread, but it's all held. Same way, everything which is moving around here, unmoving and all that, the Lord's energy is there, which is holding it. So everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a pearl. And then now he's talking about his opulences in the material world. That is, in the water is the taste. Moon and the sun is the sun. See, the minute you see, and how do we perceive the Lord? See, that's what this chapter is. Because he says, no, you think of me, you meditate upon me, and do devotional service to me, he says. So then how do we perceive him? So that's where here in these verses, he says, I'm the taste in the water. When we're drinking water, the taste, we can perceive. Okay, without water, we can't know. So why should he mention this? Because everybody needs water to survive. Everybody drinks water. All living entities, plants, animals, everyone. But the taste is what we human beings, if you understand that, if you perceive, okay, that the water is the thing, taste in it, he is the Lord, otherwise the thing. So he is the light. Once you see the sunlight, you can say, oh, the sun is there. That means the God is there who has given us the sunshine. Then in the Vedic mantras, he is the Om. The ether is the song. In the Shaktis, we say, no, that ability, we have the thing, but without that ability, we can't move. There is something which is moving us. We think we are moving, but actually there is some Shakti in us which is moving. So that is the ability. He is the ability in the man. He is the fragrance in the heat in the fire, fragrance in the earth, life, penance, original seed, prowess, strength, sex. So he is the thing in all the different appearances he explains. So without, there is a saying, no, there's no blade of glass cannot move without him, isn't it? Just that. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature. Here he is only mentioning the modes of nature. We know, no, Sattva Guna, Rajas Guna, and Tamas Guna. He says, he is the one who has created them, because he has created the material and nature, material world, and they have these three natures, goodness, passion, and ignorance. But he is independent. He is not under that control. Once we come into this material world, we get conditioned by the modes of material nature. So Krishna is the origin of modes, and within the modes, and therefore he is Nirguna. Nirguna means not that he doesn't have a form. He has got the transcendental form. All material activities are conducted under the three modes. These modes, like law of nature. So that, if he is born as a lion, then it has got its own nature, no, to eat flesh, to be ferocious and all that. If he is born as an ant, it has got its own nature. Same way, all plants have got it. And we human beings also have a nature. We come under the laws of nature. So we also get conditioned by the three modes. These modes emanate from the Supreme Lord and he is not subordinate to them. And now is the king. He is like a king. King has got, he will have lot of subjects and he makes the laws, right? So because he makes the law, he is not subject to the law, right? Same. So this is his nature. The three modes are controlled by Krishna, therefore we need to surrender. So we'll start with this section. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes of things. There are many people who have read about the Krishna, Leela and all. They think he is just an ordinary person, he has come, he has done some miracles and all that, but they don't perceive him as the Lord. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So this is an important verse here. And this guna, I think this material is not divine, but actually it is all come from him. Anything related to the Lord is divine, isn't it? So Daivai Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is difficult to overcome. But how we can do it? Mam eva e prapadante maya etam tarantite. So we can easily cross. How? We have to surrender to him. Unless we surrender prapadyante, we cannot easily cross beyond it. So he is telling, if those who surrender to him can easily cross over it. So now the question comes, why we don't surrender? Why we don't surrender? Explains how to get free from the modes. We are bound by clutches of Maya, we are Nitya Baddhas and very difficult because we are controlled. The divine energy is called being divine because of the divine connection. And Guna is like a rope. So here he says only Krishna or his bona fide representative can rescue one. Why is it so? Like, you can think, suppose we are, our hands and legs are tied, we are by rope. Then can we free ourselves from it? Hare Krishna. Because if you think of a person who is tied with ropes and all that, can he free himself? Unless somebody who is free can go and loosen the ropes, isn't it? Same way, unless somebody is self-realized person or the Krishna can release us from this world. So only Krishna out of paternal affection for the living entities can order his energies to release the conditioned soul. So it is difficult by our own effort. We are conditioned. No one can, but only thing is when we came, how we came, no one can trace out the history of being conditioned. It's not that easy. And it is not also not relevant. So what will we know by just knowing when we did, how many births we took? Even that information is not going to help us. What is the information we need is how we can get out of this world. That is what is more important rather than trying to understand whether we were an lion or we were a plant or thing. We don't need to know. Or when we were as a thing, what we did, our karmas, we don't need to know. The very fact we are here is enough to know that we have been conditioned. We have misused our will and we wanted to be here, so we have come here. But now how to go out of it, this is what we are learning from Bhagavad Gita. He is clearly saying, if you surrender to me, then you can get liberated. They can cross. So only thing is get free from clutches of Maya. Mama way prapadante, only surrender to Krishna, only Vishnu is the master of Maya. So we take this session tomorrow. All this, at least we can take some questions now. Hare Krishna. Otherwise, this goes to 4 people who